Hi, this is Miss Wright, and I am continuing my presentation on literary terms for Romeo and Juliet. Um, this is part two. And there he is, another picture of Shakespeare. Juxtaposition. Right, juxtaposition is the act or instance of placing close together or side by side, especially for comparison or contrast. So these two cats are juxtaposed. One is light, one is dark, and actually putting them side by side emphasizes their differences, right? So we juxtapose things to bring out the differences in each character. So this one looks all the more dark because it is next to the one that's light, and the one that's light looks even more light or tigerish because it's next to the one that's so dark. Monologue. A long, virtually uninterrupted speech that is spoken in the presence of other characters. So when a character has a long speech, a dramatic monologue to give on stage, there are usually other characters around, but obviously they're not speaking at that time. They may or may not be acting as though they're listening, but it's a little different from the soliloquy, which the character is on stage by him or herself, and usually there's a spotlight on the character, and it's just that character and the audience. Motif, which we've been talking about since September. A motif is a theme or subject that is repeated with various changes, as in a piece of music or a book. A repeated design, example, as the bud bit with the envious worm. This idea will be repeated throughout the play. So this is a literal motif, the pattern that keeps repeating. In literature, it's an idea that keeps repeating. The author will not say it verbatim each time. He or she will say it in a slightly different way or present it in a slightly different way, but it's a pattern that goes usually from the beginning of the book to the end of the book, like the Agamemnon motif in the Odyssey. Oxymoron. A rhetorical figure in which incongruous or contradictory terms are combined, as in deafening silence and mournful optimist. An example from the play is feather of lead, bright smoke, cold fire, sick health. And I found this one, Death Valley Health Center, is hilarious. So sick, health, these are opposites. Bright smoke, opposite. Cold fire, feather of lead. And when Shakespeare uses these in the play, it's to show us that the character who is speaking is confused, that he or she is putting these items together. Pentameter. Pentameter is 5 feet in each line, two households both alike in dignity. So we have the iambic, which is the short and a long, and 5 sets of iambic is called pentameter. We know that penta, like pentagon, means 5. So we have 5 sets or 5 feet. Each set is called a foot, and 5 feet equals pentameter. Personification. This is hilarious. A figure of speech in which an animal, object, or idea is treated as if it were human. When well-apparelled April on the heels of limping winter treads is an excerpt from the play. I don't know why I don't have the act in the line there, but you have the idea of April being dressed in a garment, following behind winter, who is old and tired, so it's limping away. And it's simply a way of saying spring has come, spring is coming. But like this gentleman here, who has a dog's head, personification. Prologue. An introduction to the play or other literary work, and our prologue is one of the most famous in all of literature. It is a sonnet. It's 14 lines of iambic pentameter. Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene, and it goes on, and it introduces the conflicts in the play and actually foreshadows the end of the play. Prose. Prose is anything that is not poetry. So it's non-poetic language. Prose is generally reserved for the comic passages in the play. The servants or the lower class people don't typically speak in iambic pentameter, don't typically speak in poetry because they are uneducated, and it's a way of showing that they're uneducated. These lines are usually spoken by servants or clowns in the lighter moments of the play. So in literature in general, prose is anything that is not poetry. Pun. This is so hilarious. Frog parking only, all others will be towed. Get it? A play on words that have the same sound. The dreamers often lie in bed asleep while they do dream things true. So we have the idea of dreamers lying in bed, even though that's not grammatically correct. And then what are they? Dreamers, a dream is a type of lie, but they're lying in bed, and yet it's ironic because they dream things that are true. Play on words. Think of a pun as a play on words. Quatrain. A quatrain, a stanza or poem of 4 lines. However, a quatrain may be any group of 4 lines that works together. So here we have A, B, A, B. These 4 lines work together. They have an idea that they're expressing. Shall I compare thee to a summer day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease has all too short a date. One of my favorites. Resolution. The resolution comes at the end of the play, also known as the denouement. Denouement. The conclusion of the play, a tragedy. In a tragedy, it is the final catastrophe, which is another word that I should put on this list, the downfall of the main character. So this is where we will see the demise of Romeo and Juliet. Spoiler alert. Rising action. Rising action follows the exposition. That's where we were introduced to the characters and the conflicts of the play, and it is a sequence of events that leads to the turning point. All right, so in Shakespeare's play, this is not the climax, this is the turning point, and everything that goes up to the turning point is the rising action. So if you think of this as the Act 1, around here is Act 2, this is Act 3, where there's going to be a huge turning point, and then the falling action goes down. Soliloquy. Soliloquy. Words spoken by a character that is alone on stage. When a character stands on stage alone and talks to him or herself, he or she is speaking thoughts aloud so that we can hear them. So it's really something interior, but in order for us to know what's going on, the actor has to say the words that would be going on in the character's mind. Okay? Sonnet. a 14-line poem written in iambic pentameter. It has an alternating rhyme pattern, and the last two lines rhyme, as 3 quatrains and a closing couplet. So the type of sonnet, there are different types of sonnet. There's the English sonnet or Elizabethan sonnet, or also known as the Shakespearean sonnet, and then there is the Italian sonnet. So we are doing the English sonnet, and it is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. And what does that mean? That means that the last word in each line rhymes, but it's every other line. So sun and dun, red and head, white delight, cheeks and reeks, know and go, sound and ground. And then this is the GG where the last two lines rhyme together. Okay? Theme. How many times have we talked about theme? Theme is the main idea of a literary work. Many complex works have multiple themes. There may be more than one theme in a major work, such as Romeo and Juliet. A pair of star-crossed lovers alludes to the theme of fate or destiny, because star-crossed means it was beyond their control. It was written in the stars. It was part of destiny. Okay? Turning point or crisis. The turning point, this is it, what we talked about a couple times already. A change in the course of action in the play that determines how the action will come out. An event that changes everything for the main characters. And it's really obvious. It's hard to miss the turning point. Usually located in Act 3 of a Shakespearean play. So the climax comes down here, and the turning point is in the middle. Peripeteia. Peripeteia is reversal of circumstances, reversal of fortune for the protagonist from failure to success or success to failure. So when Romeo has his change of fortune, his reversal of fortune, at one minute he was happy, he was elated, and a few moments later all was tragically turned upside down. Anagnorisis. Anagnorisis. It is a moment of recognition. It is an aha moment. It's the point in the play during which the tragic hero experiences a kind of self-understanding, and Romeo is going to go through this. The discovery or recognition that leads to the peripeteia or reversal of fortune. In this play, that's actually reversed. He has a reversal of fortune, and right as he has that reversal of fortune, he has the moment of recognition. Okay, so everything is not 100% cookie cutter. Catharsis. She looks like she's having a catharsis. A purgation, meaning an outpouring of emotion. According to Aristotle, the end of tragedy or a tragedy is the purgation of emotion through pity or terror. So when we get to that final scene in Romeo and Juliet, and we desperately don't want what's going to happen, and we are completely emotionally invested in this play, and then it happens, it's like an outpouring of emotion, an outpouring of sympathy, of pity for these characters. And when an author gets you hooked like that, you know he or she knows what he or she is doing. Hamartia. Hamartia. Now, there's some kind of controversy about Hamartia, because some people say that it's kind of been mistaught over the years, and that's not really what it means. I'm just going to go with a traditional version of Hamartia for now. When you get to college, you can debate it with your professors. Okay? So Hamartia is a tragic flaw. It is the element in a character that leads to his or her downfall. Next year when you read Macbeth, That's a more traditional type of tragedy, and his Hamartia will be very obvious. In this play, like I said,